Who's first? Who's first? Who got in first? Should start handing out prizes for who gets in first. What up, folks? Turkey Day in the US. I enjoy turkey myself. Bit envious. Who doesn't love a good turkey dinner? It's hard to beat, isn't it? So we're just going to wait for a few people to come in. Hey, Cos. Good to see you. See you early. See you early. It's not like you. You normally miss me. So, yes, doing a wee stream here, folks, on Turkey Day in the great old land of dreams. Hey, Kickstand, how are you going? Good old land of dreams, eh? It's Turkey Day. It's not such a good day for turkeys, though. I wonder if that's. I wonder if that can be related to some sort of like satanic ritual. Turkeys slaughtered. Some sort of blood sacrifice on the Thanksgiving to do with like satanic ritual crap, abuse, and all that stuff. And somebody's bound to come out with a video making those connections, aren't they? Thanksgiving is really a satanic holiday. They kill turkeys. Well, folks, I'm going to let a few more come in. Before we get started, I'm going to discuss a few things, kind of where I ended off the last day, three things that has happened since. And then let's talk about what we saw last night in the the greatest stream of them all. Oh, crazy, folks, crazy. Yeah, you too, Rat21. You too. Happy Turkey Slaughter Day. That's it. Hundreds of thousands of poor turkeys all across America have lost their life over the last week. And, nobody's remembering them. If ever there was to be like a collective blood sacrifice thing, it has to be Turkey Day. What the Americans eat at Christmas? Do they eat turkey again, or do they go for something different? Turkey Remembrance Day. That's right. Okay, starting to fill up. So felt I have to, I need to cover a few things in respect of what went on, from the last stream that I did, and some of the things that I missed from the stream before. As you all remember, OG came into the stream. I'd accused him of making claims along with FK and Freddy that I was working with pedophiles. It turned out I was wrong about OG, and subsequently I made an apology about that. And I just want to, hammer down this again, folks, because it's something that isn't normally forgiven or is singled out or picked on in the community, and that is, it's okay to be wrong. You can admit when you were wrong. Uh, People tend to actually be a lot more respectful of you if you can admit that you were wrong about something that may or may not have reflected badly on somebody else. So that's exactly what I did. I apologize for being in the wrong, and that's okay because I'm not going to get everything right. I'm just a normal guy like everybody else. In fact, my education's maybe even a good bit lower than most people. Certainly it looks that way whenever I see the guys who are around Cicada. Sorry, that was a wee mocking laugh there, but I couldn't help it. It was just funny, we were all waiting for that dun 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 moment, and it just didn't happen. Not the way we wanted it to, anyway. I did watch the stream. I watched an hour of it, and I left because it was ridiculous. Well, I'll get into that a bit later, but I did watch an hour of it. I didn't comment in the comments in the live chat because I know I would have been blocked straight away, considering the people who had wrenches. So I felt, don't bother, you know. So getting back to a few things there, um, OG he was quite right in defending himself. He didn't say what he did. I dropped him a link to come on. Things got a wee bit heated, you know, but not too heated. He didn't come on all nonetheless. He says the link didn't work, and that's fine. That's okay. It worked for Lee, and he came on and we talked for a wee bit, and that was okay too. But the next day, there's a stream goes up. Our good old friend treacherous bastardus. That's if he was a Roman, folks. Would that be your Latin name? What's our Latin name? Anyway, Treach decided to join in that whole thing between me and OG. He got in the middle of it. Kind of like whenever two guys get in or getting in a bit of an argument, and the girlfriend gets in caught up in the middle of it. You know what I mean? She maybe starts pulling one of the guys' hair or some crap like that. You know what situations that happen in real life around a pub or stuff like that. So no, no, no. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not trying to blame Treach for that. There, certainly not. I'm not trying to blame him. I'm just saying he got himself in the middle of something he wasn't involved with because he obviously feels some sort of loyalty towards OG, and that's fine too. I understand that. As I say, I say it all the time. Two guys are fighting, and one of the girlfriends comes along to try and break it up. You know, that's okay. But he went off and he made a wee video about respect, which was initially a little dig at me. Now, he brought this video up yesterday in the live stream with the whole cicada nonsense. And basically, it's just about, this whole transgender thing has got people confused. Men don't know how to be men anymore. That we should, sort our problems out privately and not air them openly. Um, Sometimes I would agree with that in certain situations, but I feel that I never started this whole process. These people attacked me first. They didn't give me the benefit of talking to me privately. about what was going on and decided to do this on a live stream. So I've just kind of followed their trend. And I'll be honest with you too, in the truth community, if I was to go away and come back tomorrow and say, okay, folks, I had a word with OG, we're all the best of friends now, people would be very fucking suspicious. People would be very fucking, what the fuck is going on there? So I would be one of these people that would say, you're better off being open and honest about the situation rather than, try and be hide it. So that's my take on it. But at the same time, I know Treats feels the same way as I feel because, he says this whole thing about respect and about, we should deal with things in private, but his actions are very different. His actions are different. There was at one stage in the stream where he was annoyed at the stat and he gave out a bit of, a bit of a grievance to him. He got annoyed with Sovereign and he called that out during the stream in front of everybody. I mean, that's not going and talking to people in private, is it? So, before you start trying to teach men lessons in life, folks, I suggest you should start practicing what you preach, preach, and stop playing for the crowds because that looks exactly what's starting to go on here. Yeah, you're right, sovereign humanoid. You're 100% right. Emotional manipulation, and that is the subject that has been going around a lot for like 5 months now on YouTube. A subject that I got caught up in as well, and it's that subject of pedophiles being on YouTube and amongst our community and people not talking about it. And it's an emotional situation. It's a sickening, and it's one of those things that it's hard to. If somebody's being an arse or an ass about things, it's hard to turn around and point out things about them because, well, they're doing so many good things about going after these pedos and things like that there that it almost makes you look like a bit of a cunt for speaking up. And this is a tactic that I've seen being played out. I've seen quite a few channels appear recently and they're actually starting off with this tactic straight away. You know, this is how they start their YouTube career recently. Sippy Cup would be one of them. So, you know, at the same time, if you're going to try and be honourable and all the rest of it, well, I recognise OG did not say what he said. Freddie, when he was in the stream talking about this, about me putting the apology up and whatnot. He said, well, I hope it lasts and all that there. Well, Freddie commented it was in the stream too, and he was talking at the same time. And the most disappointing thing about all of this is that these people expect respect to talk about doing things honourable. They talk about we should do it in private and all this stuff. But none of the two of those guys, Treats or OG, turned round to Freddie and said, by the way, Freddie, why did you say that about Scooby? We know he isn't, so why did you say that about him? You know, are they scared to question him in case they too get kicked out of the group? I don't know. I mean, there was a wee game played to make people think that Treach was out of the group when he wasn't. And that was over what looked to be a LARP. But there's lots of sorry, I freaking hit hide there on a comment there by mistake, Lauren. If you care to repeat your message there, it's that by mistake. I hit the wrong button. If you care to repeat it and make sure people get to see it, apologies for doing it. Um, Uh, Lauren, it wasn't a trolling comment or anything like that there, so sorry. Um, so I learned a few things yesterday, and that would have been I didn't realize the relationship that Treach had with Cicada and how close he was to these people. Didn't realize he'd made videos for them, you know. And when I first come across Treach from it myself, I'd never met him before or heard of him or saw a channel or anything like that. There, no prior knowledge of him whatsoever. But he appeared out of nowhere in our. We had a Discord with me, Freddie, OG, Wake Now. Well, it started off me, Freddie, and OG. I believe Wake Now came after that, and then Treats was introduced, and I was a wee bit suspicious of other people being introduced because I kind of felt I don't know these people, but that's me being a skeptic. You know, you've got to understand where I live, you know, what I've experienced growing up in a country that was, you know, an unofficial civil war, basically, where, you know, acts of violence, terrorism, murders, everything was perpetrated daily. So people were skeptical, and, you know, this is where my mindset has kind of come from. So, yeah, I'd be skeptical and suspicious anyway. I mean, if you know they were really the best person in the world and they were just about to hand me over £1 million, I'd be like, what? I'd be just as skeptical as if they were about to stick a knife in my back, basically. So, Treats appears. I don't really know much about him, and what I do know is that he's been doing this whole pedo hunting thing on Twitter with a group called Dragon's Den, and you know that was as much as I knew. And I don't really know much more about him until yesterday when I found out. In fact, he's got quite the history with this Brian guy and Cicada, Thomas, whatnot, making videos and things like that there. So another strange thing was I couldn't understand why he was streaming it on his like not the channel he normally uses. I couldn't understand how all of a sudden it got 600 subs when I'm pretty confident in saying he didn't even have, you know, a third of that a few weeks ago. I don't think there was anything. So sorry about that. I was reading something. I don't see how all of a sudden he got these crazy amount of subs. Another thing I noticed was the likes on the vid. At one point, the dislikes on the video outweighed the likes, and all of a sudden, I mean, the last time I looked, they were like at 100 and something odd likes, and they just came out of nowhere. Uh, at one time, they even went up to over 200, and then they went down again. And it's funny because I remember in a previous stream, the stat talking about people. Can people hear me all right? Sorry, I'm just seeing somebody saying you muted yourself. Can people hear me all right? Oh, okay, no problem. Sorry about that. Yeah, the stat talking in his video about people buying and selling subs, people buying and selling likes. even selling dislikes. And I'm like, well, why would anybody want to dislike? Buy dislikes? Well, it's obvious, isn't it? They're not buying dislikes for themselves. They're buying dislikes to hit other people with. So it kind of the stats telling us that you can buy likes and you can buy subs, and all of a sudden, Twitch's channel gets a lot more subs, and his stream from last night gets a lot more likes. Now, I'm a skeptical type of guy, so I'm not claiming anything was bought or sold, but I will have to, I'm just repeating an observation I made, and I will have to take a deeper look into this. It's been a bit of a hectic day for myself, and it's been Turkey Day for the American people. So there's been plenty for me to do. So I will have to look more in that before I can make any more, make a confirmation of what I believe has actually happened there. But it has been noticed that likes have went through the roof quite rapidly, have went down again, and have went back up again. And it has been noticed about subscribers. Now, that's all I can say. I'm just pointing it out. That's my part. So, the stream comes on. Now, here's a real weird shit thing. And I messaged the Fango last night, my time, and I asked him if he fancy coming in to do a stream. He says he will, to talk about, what's happening to him and things that are going on here at the minute. He says he will, but I don't know about that. I don't know if he'll change his mind or not. But Lestat kind of started all this, and he did it. He's doing a 10-point series. He's put 2 parts out, and we're still waiting on the third part. We're wanting to know why the third part hasn't come out. But there was the claim made about the Fango with child porn. Now we know the Fango was hit with this last year, man, and had a hard effect. He had a really bad time with it. And I think, to be honest with you, regardless what anybody thinks about the Fango personally, whatever your personal thoughts are about the guy, it is absolutely disgusting and disgraceful for anybody to try and manipulate, you know, viewers of YouTube, that this guy may be, you know, involved in some of the sickest things you can ever do in the world. I think that is absolutely a crime in itself. It's disgusting that people would actually do that. So, Lestat had used as part two in the video to back this up, to bring this claim back into light. And later on, in another stream, Defango joins the stream, and him and Lestat are talking like they're best friends, like they're buddies. And I'm saying to myself, if somebody was trying to start that shit with me, the last thing I would do is want to have a conversation with them. There's no way I couldn't even be amicable with the person. It's like Freddie trying to say I'm working with that asshole, Ned for Truth. That's why I'm so pissed at it. That's disgusting that somebody would sink that low to do that. The lies that has come out of Freddie's mouth, he can't back one thing up, not one thing. But I can back myself up, and I have backed it up, and I've shown people, but he can't and he won't. Instead, he goes round YouTube spreading his lies any chance given. So I hope the Fango does do a wee stream with us. I personally had nothing against the Fango. I don't know. I don't fully understand. I used to watch him a long time ago. I don't fully understand what his whole role is in this. I understand a bit more because I haven't got to listen to the whole 7 hour stream yet. These people are doing serious streaming at the minute. Because obviously we've all got a life, you know, we've all got things to do. So I just find it strange that the Fango would sit there and talk away with this guy. And man, because I would be like a fucking rabid dog. I'm not kidding you. And if you were physically in the room with me, in physical space with me, oh my goodness, you know, there'd be all sorts of fucking ailments. You know, I couldn't handle it, honestly, just the way it is. But I'm not everybody, and everybody's not me. Not everybody would react like I would, so I have to accept that not everybody would behave in my way. That people are different. That's one lesson I have learned on YouTube, that people are different, and well, I know what you're saying, the common enemy and all the rest of it. Like, but what happens when that enemy is no longer there? You know, I know what to say. My enemy's enemy is my friend. I don't believe in that bullshit. I don't believe in that at all. Because they'll use you just as much as you'll use them. And you've got to remember it was the stat that came out against the Fango. And for all intents and purposes, it was Thomas was defending the Fango. And yet the Fango is telling us that it was Thomas is the fucked up one. You know, it's Thomas who's fucking the problem in all this. So it's a really messed up situation. Now, I understand not everybody's intelligence is quite evident straight away. Again, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer here. Um, but when it comes to bullshit, I do have a bit of experience in, and I just find this whole situation bizarre. And I think to where it started, and it all started back with FK and Freddy, as things tend to do. Now, a couple of weeks ago, Truth Convoy did a live stream, and during that live stream, she put out a hangout, right? She dropped the link for hangout, and during that hangout, somebody hit the link and jumped in, and they were wearing a white balaclava. And now during the stream, it wasn't the drama; it was a bit of a okay, what's going on here? But nobody got upset, nobody was excited. Seemed to be all taken in their stride and a bit of a laugh and a joke. And you know, the guy disappeared, and that was the end of it. Well, the next thing, Convoy's streaming again. She's going crazy. She's talking about children being trafficked and stuff, and you know, this lady was using her YouTube channel to present children to be trafficked. You know, crazy. But this was the nonsense that was going on, and one of the people that she started naming I'd never heard her speak of before, because Convoy speaks about a lot of people, more some than others. I'm one of those people she speaks a lot about, as well as a few others. And she says we're traffickers, we're dealing in all sorts of nefarious crap, we're gang stalking people and all this crap. But she introduced a new one, and that's Cade, demonetized patriot. Now not sure if he lost his channel or he took his channel down, but his channel at the moment is just Cade with the same avatar of demonetized patriot. And while she was going after Cade, she was talking about FK and Freddy in the you know, same context. The two of them were together in this. Now, it just so happened that Kate and Freddie were streaming together because Kate was just starting this new channel up. Freddie had been putting the word out to try and get people to come to it, get some subs and all the rest of it. And I happened to pop along at that time and to Kate's stream. But she's going after Kate. I'm seeing Freddie stream with Kate. And I'm thinking to myself, where have I seen this before? She's going after Kate. These two are together. And I said it there and then. I called it out in my stream. I said, wait, see, Kate will be the next one. Now, doesn't matter. You might not like Cade, you may not agree with Cade, you may think his content is nonsense, or you may love Cade, you may like him and think his content is very relevant, right? That doesn't matter. The point is, FK and Freddy is doing streams with him. Convoy starts kicking off and going after Cade out of nowhere. Uh, Once I point out this whole connection thing is happening, she deletes her videos about Kate and Freddie and focuses on me and Wintermoon again. And, again, I called it. I said, "Wait do you see? Kate will be the next. He'll be next on the list to get turned on by FK and Freddie." And lo and behold, just a day or two ago, FK and Freddie does a wee video on about a Titus thing, and he references a comment made by Kate. He talks about it, and then he basically throws Kate under the bus. Now, if people are not starting to see a pattern develop here, well, all I can do is show. If you don't see, you don't see. But I know at some point or another, you all will begin to see. Just as I didn't see things straight away, it took me a while. I got blindsided by the whole going after pedophiles, exposing pedophiles thing, you know, because I feel that when people are talking about that, you automatically give them respect and credibility for doing something like that. You know, such a horrible topic, exposing this and exposing that, and you know, Freddie attacked me, and he brought OG along for the ride. I don't think OG is as involved in this as that. Uh, and that's why I always say to give him the benefit of the doubt, because I think OG is just he likes Fairley. He's got, but I do believe OG is going to experience it pretty soon too, where FK and Freddy will start to distance himself from OG, and you've got to start recognizing this pattern, folks, of what's going on here. You got to start paying attention. Even if you don't like me, even if you don't believe me, at least try and freaking uh, okay, this guy says this is happening and that's happening. Let's look in this and see if it actually is. That's what everybody should be doing. Even if you don't think I'm freaking legit, or you might think I'm a LARP or whatever the hell it is, you've got to start looking at what I'm saying. I haven't changed my message. I haven't changed the way I do things. I've stuck by my own word. I've said it, I'd apologize if it was wrong, and I did. Said I would put that right, and I did. And after last night's shit show, I started thinking back, when did this whole thing start happening? And boom, it was with FK and Freddy. FK and Freddy starts leaving messages on Sophia freaking Music's comments, the videos, And the next thing you know, he's got a stat in a stream with him. And that now I'm not just talking about the last couple of days. I'm talking. I think it was a few weeks ago, and it may even be longer than that. So, and out of that has came the everybody's pissed off with Thomas thing. And from what I'm understanding, this seems to be all about a war for control rather than exposing the bullshit that's going on. That certain people don't like the fact that this guy Thomas is controlling the narrative with Sakira, and other people think that they should be recognized for the roles they played, and that he shouldn't have the seat at the table that he has. Now they say he's not as talented as what he claims. That he doesn't know how to do the things that the other people know how to do. Um, computer ways and tech savvy and all that there. And he introduces to say that Thomas introduces all these other people for their skill sets. Treats told us how Cicada tried to get him to join, and he didn't join. He just made a few videos. And I'm saying to myself, this is going to sound a bit offensive here, and I don't mean it like, but as I told you, I am not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I'm confident that Treats is he's pretty. His blade is pretty dull when it comes to a comparison with people who come up with the puzzles, Sakira. Now it seems to me as well that the original people who actually did the 2012 puzzle have nothing more to do with it. That this has been sitting, an opportunity was seen, and people jumped on it. Thomas jumped on it and made the most of it. But the one thing that people aren't really picking up on in all this is, what does Thomas actually bring to the party? If all these other people like the Fango and the Stat, I've got the skills with the videos, with making puzzles and things like that. What does Thomas bring to the party? I mean, it's not just because he can play a piano. Now, last night we seen a deliberate game played to manipulate the audience in the chat who were watching, and that little game played was Thomas being kept behind a screen and saying he wasn't going to play the piano because he more or less felt like he'd be a performing monkey, and he doesn't work like that. So that had everybody going, "Oh, whoa, bullshit! This is nonsense," and all the rest of it. But believe you me, that was the control thing. They already had that planned out because this guy Brian who appears. I don't know if the guy Brian has a channel. If anybody knows whether Brian has a channel, I think it's Duality or something. If it could put his channel's name in the chat there, so I can go and have a look later myself to see a bit more about the guy. But he pipes up about the stat. He says, "Well, if uh, if Thomas plays the piano and you've claimed that he doesn't, does that not debunk all of your evidence? Do you not lose your credibility straight away?" That's that was the message being put out with Brian. Uh, so it seemed like that was a wee trick pony set up for everybody to get everybody riled up because, Thomas wasn't going to play the piano. He was behind the screen, and they were saying, "Oh, but sure, if he plays the piano, does that not outdo you?" And was kind of a wee LARP played there because, as anybody who watches the stream well knows, about 45 minutes later, an hour later, Thomas played the piano. But he did the same bullshit trick again, where he sat behind the screen, but the camera moved, shook about, and you heard piano music being played through what sounded like an electric keyboard. And again, I believe that was done deliberate for electronic keyboard because, as you all know, keyboards have a memory function where you can play X, Y, Z and basically record it and play it back. And certain keyboards will add tempos in it and other musical instruments in with the timing and stuff like that there. So for anybody with a skeptical mind like myself, they'd be going, fuck this is bullshit. We can't see him play a piano. It's an electric piano. Sure, this could have been recorded. We don't even know anything, you know. It's all nonsense. But again, I believe that is set up deliberate for him later on to then come out and actually play the piano and go, see, uh, there's quite a lot of people in there last night who had channels who, um, would pick up in the very same way that I picked that up, right? And maybe have made a video about it. And if you remember back to what this guy, Brian, said, he says, but sure, if he plays the piano, does that not discredit all of it, all of the evidence that you bring? And that is exactly what I think is going to happen. People will make videos about Thomas being a fake and a fraud, and based on that little stunt that they pulled with the keyboard and hidden behind the screen, so you don't see anybody playing it, but you just hear the music. And eventually, he's going to come out and play the piano for real, and all these channels that fucking picked up in the nonsense are going to look stupid, and it's going to be clean. Well, this discredits all of you. There's not one of you have a discernment or know what the hell you are talking about. These are all full of shit, and it's going to damage channels. Now, how much damage, who knows? But I would just like to point that out, folks. Believe you me, I'm 100% confident that Thomas plays the piano, and I don't even know the guy. I'm just going off the psychology that they used last night in their stream to try and fuck with people's heads, to try and manipulate people into a way of thinking of how they want them to think so they can stay a step ahead of the game. So I'm You've got the stats saying he doesn't play a piano, and you've got the Fango saying he does play the piano. And I'd be honest with you, people may think what they like about the Fango. I think the Fango's being straight. I think the Fango actually has good intentions in life. I think he wants to do better, not just for himself but for other people. He doesn't come across to me. I feel the Fango is a very intelligent guy. He's good at what he does, but I feel he's got himself manipulated by people in the circumstances that he wouldn't have wanted to put himself into. That's what I feel about the Fango. And you know, I'm not saying he's right about everything. I'm not saying he hasn't taken advantage of a few things over the last couple of years since he's, become more prominent on YouTube. But I think ultimately the Fango is on the level. He wants to do good by himself, but he also wants other people to benefit too. And it's various things that I've picked up uh, on when he was talking about shadow box and things like that there, and he was talking about a couple of years ago, and they were talking about this like kind of version of Bitcoin that we're trying to sort out and come up with, where people made basically crypto from doing good deeds. And that was a concept. Now it may not work. It may not work in the practicality of things, but the concept, I believe, was an honest concept. So that's kind of where I am with the Fango. I think he's got in the wrong crowd who have took advantage of his abilities, and you normally find with people. I'm not saying it to Fango exactly here, but I'm saying you'll normally find with people who have high intelligence in certain areas that when it comes to one, it's very rare you get somebody of high intelligence who's street smart. That's what I'm trying to say, basically. Because the two worlds never really clash. If you end up street smart, it's because you've had a hard fucking time of it. Um, but it became obvious to me last night that these people who are involved with Cicada now are not the original people. They are not the creators of the 2012, but they saw an opportunity to make puzzles and things like that there and make money off it and other things. And that's exactly what it is. Now, the question is, what does Thomas bring to the table? If he doesn't bring skill, if he doesn't bring, um, ability with computers and all that other stuff, what does he bring? He doesn't make the puzzles either. So what does he bring? And the only thing that I can think of is contacts. The only thing I can think of Thomas could possibly bring to the party that puts him at the tip of the pyramid is contacts. That's if he is at the tip of the pyramid. He may not be at the tip of the pyramid. It could be somebody else as well. Um, Now, here's an interesting thing I'm going to talk about that I didn't really know as well. Whenever this whole Dave T thing started off, I had already been getting pissed off with seeing a lot of my favorite channels getting taken down and all these citizen journalists come taking their place and putting out nothing but garbage and begging for money. Uh, we saw the rise of you know, the MCNs, so to speak, and I was hemming to do a channel, but I didn't really want to do a channel, but I ended up doing a channel over the DFT thing. And hold on, in case that's too loud, don't want to get struck. So when I met these people, when I got involved with Freddie and OG and all, they didn't know me, and I didn't really know them. I knew of Freddie because I'd seen him around YouTube for a couple of years. I didn't know OG. I didn't know Treach. I didn't know Wake now. But it's become apparent they all knew each other apart from me. Everybody knew each other prior to this happening, where everybody came out about DFT, etc. And I didn't. I wasn't part of it. And I kind of racked my brains a little bit on why did Freddie start attacking me? Why did people start coming after me? And it made me, I never really came to the conclusion of why. And I believe after finding out about Treats and his connections and all the rest of it, I think it's just plain and simple. I was not part, that was just part of, I was not part of the group. And therefore, I could not be trusted to be involved with whatever they were being involved with. So I had to go. And the only possible thing that they could kind of pick on me for was a since was a damn live stream where I talked about somebody, being constipated, and when I used to hide in the toilets instead of like doing my work. So that seemed to be it, and it was surprising. Again, I've said this before. It was surprising. Titus Frost came after me for that. Lift the Veil came after me for that. Rance O'Brien. Freddie was, oh, this is, we don't get into this, we're not fucking 10-year-olds and all this bullshit. OG, everybody was fucking so upset about. And it was like, it was just an excuse to get rid of me because I was never part of the gang. I was in the outside. And I guess when I made my first video, and I'm not trying to, which was the DFT one, I'm not trying to blow my trumpet, but I did a reasonably decent job with it and how I presented it and showed that it was all factual. Uh, and maybe they thought at the time that that would be beneficial for what they were doing, because I was always asked, would it make a video showing the timeline of all this? And A, it was a lot of work to do that, and B, I ended up starting getting quite ill, and my participation on YouTube and everything, Discord, everything went downhill. So knowing that they're all connected to each other, they've all been involved with each other. I kind of, you've got Freddie who can phone up the sheriff of YouTube anytime he wants, and that's China the three. I now call him Fiddler of Twiff. Fiddler on the Twiff. Fiddler of Twiff. That's uh that's the sheriff's new name now. Fiddler of Twiff. But anyway, it's not really about him. Um, you know, all these people are connected. They're able to contact each other pretty quick. And the whole thing, it really bothered me that in the stream, Freddie was saying, "Oh, I've been trying to reach Scooby in Discord, and he's just ignoring me. He won't contact me. I don't know what the fuck's going on," and all this nonsense. But the reality was, Discord is an app on my freaking laptop, which I don't use 24/7. But I did have Hangouts on my iPad, which I have access to 24/7. So all Freddie had to do was call me in Hangouts. It was simple. So he could have contacted me anytime he wanted. And now that I see that he's lying, he's still doubling down because in one of my streams previous there, I told you all how he was in Sippy Cup's live stream begging for his channel back, basically, because she took his channel down with a copyright strike. Big badass, hairy ass beggar, Freddy, the gun toting, gun wielding Freddy. He's on his hands and knees begging, begging, begging Betty, please give me my channel back, you know? And she ended up, she took, he won her over in the end. She wasn't having it at the beginning, She knew exactly what he was pulling, that he wasn't just a wee meaningless video, that he was having a dig at her. She knew that. But as Freddie told us in the stream the other day there, he's had at least 4 solid 1-hour conversations with Betty. And Betty told us herself that, they smoked a few joints and talked to each other for quite a while. So I'm sure he's been filling her in. Because do you remember I told you, folks, Freddie likes to collect people. He likes to go around and collect people. He likes to interact with them one on one. He likes to get the info out of them, what to know. And if they're any use to him, he will use them. And when he's done with the use, he burns them, kicks them to the side. And that's what Freddy does. He's the bone collector. So he's begged for his channel back. She took down the copyright claim and he got his channel back. But he then says that that's exactly what I did with Gunk. Well, folks, I can show you my copyright strike still stands. I've still got my copyright strike still there. Gunk never took mine away. Uh, and I've already explained that if you get a copyright strike on a video, it doesn't affect you streaming. It only affects you streaming if you get a second copyright strike or the first copyright strike was over you something that you streamed in your or something you put in your stream, and then you won't be able to stream. So I didn't have to beg anybody. I didn't have to ask. I didn't get down on my hands and knees like Freddie did. I can just see him now having to pull the hair out of his eyes. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. So Belly could watch. Anyway, she gave in to him. She took a copyright strike and Freddie's back. But he's telling all these lies, folks. He's burning. He tells lies in the people he wants to burn. He tries to be straight with the people he wants to use. But as soon as he's done, boom, you will be burnt and you will be put out. And the difference with me is, well, you know, I was never a person that was controllable in the first place. I wasn't going to be controlled. Yes, I was blinded by the topic matter. I felt it was a bit of solidarity that we could all unite under what this topic was, which was pedophiles on YouTube. I saw that as a good thing, but I didn't realize it was going to turn into manipulation, routine. And I did let a lot of my guards down for that. I know all I can do there personally is try and learn from that and make sure it doesn't happen again. Right. There's a few details that also have come out from this Lestat thing that affect me personally, and I didn't realize at the time. And that is, uh, I found out Treats is on. Is that too loud? I have to turn it down because I get freaking. Treats is involved with Cicada. And then I realised because of Kickstand, yes, or not Kickstand, sorry, I saw your name there popped up. Lestat, whether it was yesterday or the day before, I think it was when the first stream he did with Freddy, he talks about a character, an entity, an avatar being a spy. And that's when the penny dropped. And I was like, I was thinking to myself, how did I freaking, what do you call it? How did I let that happen? But then you see, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know these people. Traits was part of close to the whole cicada thing. And whenever I started getting in the Discord with people, lo and behold, one of these entities and characters from who is it you want me to unblock? Unblock Dickbutt. I didn't even know he was blocked. You have to give me a wee second here to go into this. Yeah. I'm gonna try and do it now, folks. Give me 2 seconds here, and I'll try and get him unblocked. Do. Anyway, what I was saying, yeah. So when I gets into Discord, it was actually started whenever Freddy's Discord was still up. So it was. I got messaged by this entity or avatar individual, and they interacted with me for quite a few, for like over a month. But unfortunately, that interaction kind of came to an end because, well, I was a bit ill, you know, um, and I wasn't getting the time spent. Let me see, Dickbot, shitload of Dickbot. There you go. You're unblocked. We'll unblock Treats too. Didn't realize he was blocked still. Anybody else blocked that should is relevant? No. Okay, folks. So yeah, Dick bot should be unblocked there. So yeah, one of these people starts interacting with me, trying to help me, and it turns out it was one of these cicada people all this time. Now you tell me, folks, why would somebody involved with cicada want to bother with me, who they don't know, who all this other group of people all know each other, but they don't know me, and then a group member of the group who's involved with cicada gets involved with me, starts messaging me, starts giving me information on things that are going on. I'm not sure if they wanted me to make videos or what. There was never any demand to make videos, but they were giving me all this information, and some of it blew my mind. I mean, really blew my mind that they give me, but I never really did anything with it. I kind of just holding the cards, because when somebody gives you shit like that, there, you've got to ask yourself why. You just don't rush out with a fucking here. I've got a royal flush. Go and play cards, and you've only got a fiver in your pocket to bet with. Screw that. You want to make sure you've got a whole lot of money in your hand when you've got a royal flush to play. You know what I'm saying? You want to take people to a cleaners box. You just don't want to freaking waste it for like $20. So they give me this information. They're involved with Sakira, and then Treats has been involved with Sakira. He's been involved with OG for 2 years. Uh, OG's been involved with Freddy while doing the Jamie Deluxe stream. Freddy's been a mod on Jamie Deluxe stream, and Jamie Deluxe is the stream with that outed gunk. You see all these wee connections here, folks. You're starting to see things a little bit. You're starting to like. You see, I think somebody's trying to. The thing you've got to think about YouTube, right? See, even if you put a channel up, like me, I've done this channel. I've had it a few months. Well, it's not something that you want to do for the rest of your life. You kind of see it. It's got a limited time frame, and you want to make the most of it out of that time frame. Now, as I'm not here for money, because there's no Patreon, there's no PayPal, there's no anything like that there, and you can't really say, I'm here for Sub Sailor because you know I've got 400 subs, big deal, what, but I'm not name dropping in my, you know, when I do my titles and my videos. I'm not name dropping there, and I'm not using tags. I'm not doing hashtag QAnon, hashtag blah blah blah. So, but you do realize when you do this that there is a time frame because you're not going to want to do this forever. I mean, I'm single at the minute. If I meet a good looking girl 2 weeks from now, am I going to be wanting to spend all my time on YouTube talking this nonsense, or am I going to be wanting to spend a lot more time, you know, trying to pull some moves? So, with the girl, of course. So, I know there's a time frame on it, and these other people realize there's a time frame on it too. Even Thomas has a time limit. He's got a time frame to work with, and at some point it has to end. And he's trying to make the most of it before it ends. But when it ends, somebody else will take his place. Somebody else will come in and do the exact same thing he's doing. They will have collected people. The people they will have collected will be people who have the skills that they don't, just like Thomas. And they will be able to offer a different perspective than what these people who have the skills to do the videos and to do other things with. They will be able to offer something different. And what could that possibly be? Is it contacts? And who goes round collecting contacts? Who goes round a lot of live streams connecting, collecting people? So I could be 100% wrong here, but I'm starting to see a little bit of movement on, you know, Freddie trying to become the next Thomas. I'm throwing it out there, folks, for people to talk about. See what you think of that. That's just, it's just a thought. I'm not saying that's what's happening. It's just a thought. From everything that I'm kind of seeing that I'm putting together. And then, of course, there's all this promotion of more Canadian channels and things like that there, which is cool, I suppose. But it seems like replace the Americans with the Canadians. Is that is that not what's going on here? I don't know. Could be. May not be. Possibly isn't. But it's just a thought for people to put in their back in their mind for later. In case something does become more relevant and more visual, that you will be able to say, freaking hell, do you remember Scoop talking about that? Now, I've always asked myself, I don't believe the whole I think there's people beyond. I think there's people controlling what narratives are put out there. And when you step away from all the wee LARPs that have been going on in YouTube that we've all got caught up in recently. Step away from all that there and just concentrating on one particular LARP that happened in the last few months. And look at the people who are involved. And that LARP is the sex camp in the desert, the Arizona desert, VOP. And look, ask yourself, never really gained any traction. It was kind of debunked straight away. And people like Titus, like he really promoted it hard. He promoted it hard. And when it was shown he was wrong, that people weren't buying it, he retracted his support. But, you know, he claims to be a citizen journalist. And I have no idea why Donnie would say Freddie was a cop. Would a cop know a cop, do you think? Would a cop recognize a cop? Would an ex-cop recognize an ex-cop? So, but the thing was, when these people came out, and it was clear that lift or not lift the veil. Sorry, it was clear that the VOP thing was a lot that was bullshit and conned a lot of people out of a lot of money. Um, People like Titus just said, "Oh, I got it wrong. I'm taking more than off to do with it." And if you'd have been an actual citizen journalist, would you not actually turn around and go? Would you not be annoyed with yourself and say, "Do you know what? These guys got one over me. I'm gonna fucking take them down. I'm gonna expose everything about them. I'm gonna freaking look into this in a big way. I'm gonna go fucking deep on this one. I'm gonna make sure everybody knows about VOP. Because if I was Titus, that's what I would have done. But I'm not Titus, and that's exactly what he didn't do. Titus just said, I got it wrong, sorry. Sure, shoot me for it, eh? What can I do? And you'll know why. I'm pretty sure by now you all know why Titus never looked any deeper into it. Because when you look at the players who were involved in VOP and why everybody kept stopped talking about it pretty quick. Even Unirock stopped talking about it pretty quick. Although there is a couple of channels that get involved with Unirock who is talking to that is still talking about this and still reporting on it. But the big channels stopped reporting on it. And I think that is more to do with who's involved because you've got your man Sawdust was involved in that big time. In fact, his credibility took a major hit in the community because of that. Um, it was pretty clear that he was involved, and he tried to say he wasn't involved. It's just it ended up being a no burger. And we all have seen your man Tom Sawyer. I'm thinking of. We've all saw Sawdust Man on Infowars. We've all seen him promoted by Hagman and Hagman, and we all heard Honeybee talk very fondly of good old Sawdust himself. We know that Titus is pretty tight with Honeybee. So you're starting to get the picture that these folks were never going to look into why this is going down, but they were happy enough to promote it. Right? People have been getting more and more awake to all this nonsense going on, but it's not large numbers. We're not talking about, three or 400 people. I think we're only talking maybe 200 people max who watches these channels on a regular basis and are 100% certain that this is all bullshit and talk about it regularly. People like me. I'm not talking about 200 channels. I'm talking about actually actual 200 people, avatars, as some would call them, but I would recognize you as people. Um, and a lot of these people have got attracted to this crap now. It's going on. And one of the biggest messages that our people collector likes to put out there is get off YouTube, go out and play, get out in the sun. YouTube stinks. I'm leaving YouTube. We all need to leave YouTube. I'll leave YouTube once I set all of yous free. Once yous are all free from YouTube. And I think there's a bit of a lot going on at present to try and sicken everybody enough who is awake to this crap to just go, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done. I have enough more to do with this. I'm leaving. I'm not going to bother with this crap no more. Cheerio. I'm going to get on with my life. I've had enough. And we all disappear. And who benefits from us leaving YouTube? The LARPers. Because the other people aren't seeing it. They're not talking about it. They're not bringing it up. They're not seeing all the connections. They haven't been around the last two years. You know what I'm saying? We've all been sitting here the last couple of years watching all this bullshit and calling it out. And then somebody comes along with the idea of, you know what, let's piss them off that much and let's encourage them to leave fucking YouTube. Because if they're gone, we will all benefit. But Rob, listen, here's what I'll tell you. YouTube is a good place. YouTube is a very useful application. There's lots of good points to YouTube. YouTube was a lot better before these arseholes got involved as deep as it did, and they only got the hours and grace that they got and the viewership that they got because of Pizzagate. That's where all these channels gained any sort of credibility. All of them. George Webb, who spoofed the Seth Rich Fest. You know, all of this crap started with Pizzagate and started with freaking WikiLeaks. Which, do you really trust that? I don't. You do know that London is full of underground tunnels, full to the brim. And I guarantee you that if somebody was able to get their hands on a map of the underground tunnels, that little embassy that Julian Assange apparently has been sitting in for the last, 5, 6 years, maybe longer, uh, has access underground. And what did WikiLeaks do? WikiLeaks kind of closed the door for Trump to get the presidency. It was like a final push. Once those emails came out, and let's be straight, these emails, they said a lot of nothing. A lot of, something out of nothing. And that's what everybody did. They made something out of nothing. I believe the people who came up with Pizzagate had access to these emails a lot sooner than what they did. Some guy speaks in code, so what? Some guy has a bizarre taste in art. Is he breaking the law? Yes, it's distasteful. Distasteful, but is he breaking the law? No. And I just see all these little things coming together, and people like you, people like me, People like everybody sitting watching this stream, who've listened to this stream, have been around for a couple of years, and have got all the history of what's went down in their little brains going tick, 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 tick. And wouldn't it be better to get rid of us by sickening us and have a new crowd that they can sit and LARP on and, have as little people as possible in there that's going to say, this is a fraud, this is that. I remember when this happened, I remember when that happened. It's just an opinion, folks. This is just a perspective. This is just a motive, pulling together a motive. That's what this is. See, when you're going to investigate people, when you're going to look at what people are presenting, you have to look for a motive of why they would do anything. And you will find that most crimes against you are done by people that you know. Certain crimes are done by people that you know. So it's just a little thing that rolls around in my head. And when I think of all the little connections of, why I was kicked out of the group, why I was attacked the way it did, why other channels came after me the way they did, and the people who were around me and people who were contacting me, I kind of feel, wow, what a privilege. All these people coming after little old me just because they didn't know me. Wow. So, and we are seeing new channels pop up, folks. We are seeing new people coming in to replace us. We are seeing things happening. And money always seems to be a big enough motive for everybody to do anything. Things that maybe wouldn't normally do, but now they will because they're getting a bit of money. So I honestly believe that right from the beginning, we've all been manipulated. It really doesn't take a lot of people to pull this off either. It doesn't take a huge, big network of people. When you understand how the chain of command works, you see, when you've been involved with the chain of command, when you've been involved with the top and the bottom, it's easier to spot what's going on. And, this is the crazy thing about the chain of command. The people at the top know what the people at the bottom are doing, but the people at the bottom don't know any more about the person directly above them than the person at the very top. They're just somebody that they know of, maybe give a wee salute to once in a while, because that's a basic of how the chain of command operates. You see, you've got the guy at the top who will protect himself by having maybe a set of generals below him, and those generals he will trust to carry out his instructions. Now, those generals are highly valued to the guy at the top, so those generals are not going out into the battlefield, folks. They are not. They are not going out to risk getting a freaking hit by a sniper. No, those generals then they will have their command below them, and they will have people below them who they've picked and they can trust, and they will tell the orders from the guy on top to the guy below them, and he will then go and carry out those orders. But he won't do it directly either. He will bring somebody else in because he's maybe valued to them generals. So he brings some people in, and it just goes on and on down the totem pole. And as long as the person below you doesn't know what's going on above you, everything's protected and everything's safe. I mean, this is pretty basic stuff. This is how the mafia done it. This is how the Roman Empire done it. This is how the Church of Rome does it. This is how the army does it. This is how paramilitary paramilitary organizations do it. Because if one gets caught, there's only so much they can tell. There's only so much they can know, and therefore the entire operation is always protected. So the only way for you to do, yes, that's right, Toro. Northern Ireland teaches plenty. Um, the only way for you to actually get at the top is to try and work your way through the pyramid, the chain of command, until you get the guy who's at the top. And I'm telling you now, nobody has got the guy at the top yet. If anybody thinks Thomas is the guy at the top, no chance, no way. That guy would never have shown his face. Not that he didn't, but he wouldn't have. He wouldn't even have came onto the stream, man. That he wouldn't even be leaving comments. You know, Thomas is nowhere near the top of the pyramid, folks. He's just School of Hard Knocks, University of Life, Toro. That's where I went. um, he's just somebody who's trusted by somebody else and is able to protect the people above him. That's what they all are. That's my. I want to tell you something. In the UK, Northern Ireland, they've got maybe Toto will have heard stories like this. I don't know. Maybe you can verify you've heard things like this, but I'll tell you something that I experienced firsthand. This is a first-hand experience that I witnessed take place. Uh, it was in a park early morning. I'd been on my way home from a bit of a party the night before. I was pretty young. I was like 16, 17. And as we're going through this park, there was a drunk, what you would call a drunk, lying sleeping in the hedges. So there was. And I noticed him because it was raining. It was a real shit day. And he was lying sleeping in the hedges. He looked homeless, he was as scruffy as fuck. And I'm telling you now, this guy looked like he hadn't washed in 3 weeks. It looked like he hadn't shaved in 3 weeks. It looked like he hadn't eaten in 3 weeks. He looked like a bag of shit. And, everybody has a little human in them once in a while. And I kind of, where this park was, a place along the Omar Road in Belfast, and the Omar Road is a bit of a conflict zone at times. And if you Google it, Omar Road, you'll see some news clippings about things. But it was along there, the park in there, and I sees this old guy. He wasn't old. He wasn't old. He was actually young, but I was 16. A guy in his 20s looked old to me for crying out loud back then. But he was absolutely stinking looking. He was rough as a badger's horse. Basically, if you saw him in a dark night, you'd walk the other way. You'd turn tail and run the other way. maybe not run, but you'd be like, fuck God, he's dodgy. But because I was reading it all and yeah, I was feeling a wee bit guilty, I had a few quid in my pocket. I felt bad for him. And I went over and I gave him a favour to go and get a cup of tea and something to eat. And as I was handing the favour, I said to him, mate, get yourself a cup of tea or something. I was just a kid. I had my own business. He walked along in the middle of this park during the day in an area that has a bit of a conflict zone. And the guy looked at me as if I was fucking crazy, as if, what the fuck? And he said thanks as he was reaching for the £5 note off me. And straight away, when he said thanks, I knew this guy's English. What the fuck? We don't have Englishmen over here. Because at that point, the only people that were ever English in Northern Ireland were squatties in the military. And here's this guy with an English accent, 3 weeks stinking, dirty, all the rest of it, sleeping in a hedge in the piss and rain. And as he took the favour off me, he said thanks. And his coat fell open and I seen the butt of a gun. The guy clearly was packing a weapon. I said nothing. I didn't even acknowledge the damn thing. Didn't even acknowledge it. I just gave him the favour and carried on. And people might be saying, well, sure, what's the big deal about a bum having a gun? Well, we don't have guns over here, folks. And the only people that have guns are, you know, the security forces or the paramilitaries. There's no in between. And, I went back and I told somebody, that I would confide in about this. And his instant reaction was, he's probably been the SAS. It's probably a SAS. That's a SAS guy. I'm like, what? He says, that's a SAS guy. How do you know what? He says, that's what they do all the time. They pretend they're bums. They pretend they're the bottom of the barrel. And they sit and they're monitoring. They're recording who's coming about. They're targeting. And that's the sort of shit that I see happening on YouTube. Somebody, you know, you maybe don't think a whole lot of them, but lo and behold, out of nothing becomes something because they let you think that they were a bum and you thought they were a bum. But at the end of the day, it turned out this motherfucker was a lot more. So that's what I experienced. Running into a freaking SAS man in the middle of an operation. And this was that is exactly what it was because this shit happened all the time over here. I got to that point where I just never I never went near another homeless guy again. I was like, fuck that, you know. And it's something to bear in mind, you know, for somebody you might see or something you might see going down. You see this stuff going on YouTube all the time, and sometimes it's easier to spot, and sometimes it's not. But the thing is, when you've got an experience, a physical, actual experience, your gut feeling is tuned a different way. And That's one of the delights of growing up in Northern Ireland, that you're wired very differently than the normal populace. You think differently and you behave differently. Even the kids growing up here now, the next generation of kids that are turning 18 now, they've grew up throughout the peace process. They've known they haven't known anywhere near the troubles like we have. It's been a very different lifestyle for them. And at the same time, I didn't experience it to the point of what my parents would have experienced and their parents would have experienced, but we experienced it. And you'll see the difference over here between people in their 40s and people in their 20s, in their behaviors, in how they do things. And it all comes down to a way of thinking. When I used to go out for the night, and I still do this, I can't help this. This is something that's set in my, and I'm, you know, this is something that's set in my brain. It's a constant. I do it without even thinking about it. And I didn't really recognize it too much until somebody else pointed it out to me and asked me why I was doing it. And I was in a foreign country at the time, and this person asked me, uh, and that is when I'd go out for the night, or when I would go to a restaurant, or I would go to a bar, or anything like that. There, I always went to a bar that had more than two exits, always, and I always sat in an area that covered at least two exits. Two entrances, so I could see who was coming in constantly, who was coming in around me, and who was leaving me, as such, leaving the area. And the reason why for that is because it wasn't uncommon for you know people to get caught up, in a shooting. There's plenty of cases where bars get shut up here, and innocent people got killed. So I would always watch for something. I would always plant my ass down somewhere where I could keep an eye, and it was constant. And you'd always be monitoring the doors. And even though there's been this peace for 18 years, I still behave in that same manner. It's in my blood. It was, as much as people have been torture trained, well, this was ingrained in me, and it was ingrained in almost everybody at that time. Period. A lot of people behaved in a very similar way. And it's kind of like that when I come into YouTube then and I start looking for people. I start looking who's around me, who's coming and who's going. You start seeing things differently from other people because you have a different perspective. You have a different experience. So I hope, folks, that is taking in what I've said. I'm not saying it's all right. I'm not saying that's exactly what's happening. I'm just saying these are things you should think about. This you should be thinking about for yourself. You should be churning over. Toto, I understand. I'm sorry to hear that. I know. But here was the really weird thing, Toto, about all this as well. You know, you would have all that ingrained with you, you know, but you still carried on and got on with things as normal, everyday people. Is it crazy? It's a crazy thing. Absolutely crazy. So, all right. I get what it's like too, girl. So, on that note, folks, I'm going to wrap things up. Maybe the Fango will do a stream with us. Maybe we'll get the chance to ask some questions that weren't asked. I don't know. Um, Obviously, I'm not one of the popular people on YouTube regarding the whole group of things that goes on. But and all these wee syndicates that seem to be around the place. I mean, I was a wee bit. So Fairly gets the stat, and Tretch out of nowhere gets. Hey, here's the great. I forgot this was one too. Tretch does a stream with the stat and all, and then he ends up in a stream with Cade, telling Cade how he lost his shell hammer jacket too. You know, and hours before he was streaming with Freddie, and he had announced that he'd be speaking. He'd be having Thomas on his show, and yet he's running around saying he lost the shell hammer. Was he? And at the same time, a sock puppet account appeared and started attacking good old me, even though I wasn't. I hadn't made my presence in the stream visible. In fact, I wasn't even in the stream. But what's the replay? So out of nowhere, this sock account that I've never seen before starts attacking good old me. Apparently, my ego. I'm getting carried away with myself with my ego. Yeah, I don't think so, folks. As I've said, those with eyes will see, and those with ears will hear. So it would be cool to get the Fango on. It would be cool to be able to get it straight from the horse's mouth. And I do have some questions for them. Some of them he might find a bit difficult. He might not want the answer, but I don't believe if somebody's gonna come on, I don't believe in being a yes man. And just only asking the questions that they would like you to ask. So I'm hoping he comes on. All the same, nothing's up, Billy. Nothing's up at all. It's nice to see you. Well, Danny, maybe it's that relaxing voice of mine. Apparently, I was going to try doing some of them ASMR videos. So I was to see if that helps. See if I can see if I can put people to sleep. So thank you very much, people, for taking your time out on a day where turkeys everywhere have been massacred and gobbled up. Think about the turkeys. They're the real victims, the turkeys. Think about the poor turkeys. Okay, folks, thank you very much for your time. It's much appreciated. Hope to see you again. I'll be back with stream pretty soon, I'd imagine. Hopefully, as I said, we'll get some more feedback from the Fango, and we'll take it from there. Good to see you too, Billy. I'm pretty sure after last night's joke of a live stream that there's a lot more questions people have. I know I do. But good night and good luck, folks. I will see you on the next stream. Thank you very much.